Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, I finally got some good sleep last night, but I want to talk about the drug effects of sleep deprivation because it does feel like a weird drug in its own right. I don't know if sleep deprivation could technically be classified as a drug. I mean, we do classify certain activities as drugs, right? Gambling, especially, and to some extent, various risk taking activities. But one thing I noticed is that the early effects of sleep deprivation are really good. When you're 24 hours into it, I find that you get a very lightweight attitude and you feel kind of just happy go lucky, even if things aren't going right. So, you guys remember why I was sleep deprived last week. I was working on a Legos project. And I almost got into trouble while doing that. What had happened was, ever since I started my Legos project, every time I see an interesting building, I start to think about how Legos could be used to design it. And so I was kind of exploring and I was wandering around a large Phoenix apartment, just kind of exploring the architecture and all that. And so it was in a rather nice neighborhood, so the security there thought I was up to no good and asked me about it. And I told him about my Legos. Oh, sorry about that. I'm looking at some inspiration for my Lego project, and it helps that I was kind of looking at Legos on my phone as well as I was doing that. And so that was good. On a bad day, a confrontation like that, it would have really riled me up. Unfortunately, it's a very transitory state, right? You go from normal to being that happy-go-lucky feeling, and then to a crash, sometimes within a few hours, right? I've never found a good way to stay up there, right? It's a weird situation. Imagine you had a wonder drug of some sort, right? But unfortunately, it's the side effect of that drug is that it completely cancels out that drug. It makes it even worse, right? I don't know. That's the only analogy I could give, right? But unfortunately, when you crash off of that, for some reason, sleep deprivation makes me indulge in risk-taking activity a little bit more than I would like, right? A little bit of loss of inhibition, if you will. So one night, I was at the office late, and I don't know why they had I guess the janitors forgot to reactivate the bathroom lights. I needed to go to the bathroom, and when I walked in and the door closed behind me, I realized there's no lights. And in a normal day, like right now, if that happened, I'd probably go look for another bathroom, right? But that night, for some reason, here I was 30 some hours into sleep deprivation. For some reason, I decided I could find the toilet even without the lights on. And the result was a disaster, let's just say that. I got a little bit bold with uh, interacting with people during the time that I was sleep deprived as well, and it's a mixed bag. At least I got it out of the way. I also found that my inhibitions were a little bit lowered. For you guys know I love intermittent fasting, but well, in a sleep deprived mind, that could wait for later, right? And it clouds good judgment, if you will. But when you're 24 hours in, a lot of good stuff can happen. Unfortunately, I can't find a way to stay up there, right? I guess it's a little bit of a hack if you desperately need to feel good for that one moment, right? Imagine you're going to a job interview or a first date. You can kind of use that. Although it's kind of weird because once you do land the job or once you do start a relationship, you won't be able to stay up there. So it's questionable whether or not you even want to use the hack. I guess if it's a once in a lifetime situation, right? If you're going to buy a house, right, you might do it. But if it's interacting with somebody that you need to hold any sort of connection with in the foreseeable future, maybe not, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.